Okay, class, let's start with the first group. So I'll be critiquing Rebecca's work. So it looks like this is her denotative, the triple chocolate cheesecake, and her connotative. So let's take a look and see what's going on here. So great, good start. I think it's nice that you've chosen a very classical font. What I would recommend though is instead of slicing through the type like this, let's see if we can still maintain readability by still keeping triple as it is instead of slicing through it like the instructions like that. Um, I would also say let's get rid of those colored boxes here and create this type of effect only with the text. So if you need to make things a little bit bigger to fill up a certain type of space, do so with the text only. Um, I would say also be careful with your line length, no more than 9 to 13 characters per line. So definitely be wary of that. I do like how you're layering your overall layout. So I just want to make sure that we still maintain readability um, throughout your layout for your denotative. I think your connotative is pretty strong. I like how you're illustrating a slice of cake. One thing though is we're trying to still maintain readability, so if there's a way to bring back readability here, that would be a lot better. And also make sure that we're not doing effects in the background like so. This is strictly typographic. So let's just remove things like this in the background and take out the text in the color boxes, if you will, because remember we're just doing all this typographically and we're maintaining a certain kind of level of limitation, which is just with type. You can use it with color, but you just don't want to have any type of illustrational aspects to help your layout. So what I would recommend for this step over here is maybe rotate your ingredients list and your instructions to read horizontally, and also see if you can um, like lessen this effect a little bit. I'm not sure why we're doing this wave-like texture over here, but like just simple. Have it read left to right. And I think we'll get the idea that this is a layered cake. But somehow see if you can create 3 different sections here for your paragraphs. But that way we can still maintain readability. I think we're also losing that readability here. But overall, I think you've done a nice job of how it looks. We just need to make sure that it reads. So that would be my feedback for you for the next step. For next week would be just maintain the readability aspect, and let's just make sure that we create all those different effects just with the type. Okay, let's move on to Gisella's work. So Gisella also did cheesecake. So this looks like the denotative version. Pretty simple, straightforward. It seems like the organization of the info is the left the ingredients, then the name down the middle, and then we have the preparation. Just be careful when we get too close like this to the letter forms. We just want to make sure that we have ample white space around certain areas like so. When it gets too close to the edge, it becomes a little bit like a hard tangent and difficult to read. We want to make sure that when we print this out, we're able to not have these areas go too close to the edge. So just be a little wary of your white space. Now let's take a look at your connotative. Okay. So I like that we're using a specific kind of grid. I would say just line up your grid from top to bottom if you want to do ingredients, line up preparation, and then 5 and 6 over here. But the way that this is going back and forth is interesting. I would say bring in a little bit more expression into your connotative layout. Remember, this is cheesecake, so we want to make sure that we're still maintaining that overall sense of emotion to our viewer. So see if there's something we can add to this that will say tasty cheesecake that will invigorate our viewer to create this and make this. It could be just your typeface choice. It could be how you're dealing with the layering of the cake. So think a little bit more about how we can make this a little bit more different than the denotative, because it's looking a little too similar right now. So just a little bit more expression for your next step for next week, okay? Let's move on to Masoud. So Masoud, I don't know which we are using here. So okay, this is Persian cucumbers, Persian Japanese cucumbers, spicy mayo. So it looks like we have an ingredients list here. We don't have the instructions, nor do we have how this is being built as a recipe. So you need the title, subtitle, and you need instructions. Similar to what we have here with Giselle's work, we have the name, the ingredients, and the preparation. So I'm missing that in your version right here, and we're using way too many fonts. We need to simplify this completely. All right, so same with what I believe is your denotative here. We need to just work on one font, and we need to bring in the ingredients list, and we need to bring in your instructions, because right now this is reading as so many different things on the page that we're not sure how to read this. So please, for your next round, bring in more of that recipe step-by-step instructions, simplify the amount of fonts you're using, and organize things a little bit better on the page. Right now it's just large text all over, and we need to still read paragraphs and information. Well, I hope this helps for your next round, but we do need to be at a phase where we can actually see a recipe. Let's go to Erin's work. So this is sun-dried tomato spinach bow tie pasta. And looks pretty simple and straightforward for the denotative. I would say maybe do something here with the white space. There's a tad bit more white space than normal. Bring some of your directions a little bit closer so we don't have that much white space here and this much little space over here. So just maybe move things a little bit up, but I like the overall sense of space you have around your layout. So I think this is a nice breathing room for your viewer. All right, so that's for your denotative. I like where your connotative is going. It's readable, and I can see that this is something that looks like bow tie pasta and some kind of layering going on. I think this works well. I just think careful with organizing your information here. You want to make sure that this is still readable so I can read. You don't want to, you definitely don't want to make sure, you want to make sure that things are not being repeated. So just be weary of that 8 cloves of garlic, 8 cloves of garlic. So I know you're trying to fill in the space, but be wary that your viewer is going to be reading this and making this. You don't want to confuse them. So treat this as an actual recipe, okay? And also your step-by-step instructions, maybe number them 1, 2, 3. Just be a little bit more cautious to the detail that your recipe presents. But I think overall this is a great set for you. Just little details here and there that need to be changed. So this is group 1. I will see you guys in the next video where I critique group 2.